The night in Normandy was quiet at first, but every soldier knew that silence was deceptive and dangerous. Fires from distant villages flickered faintly, casting long shadows across the bombed-out terrain that marked the path forward. American troops huddled in foxholes, listening to the occasional distant gunfire echo through the countryside. Letters from home were clutched tightly in worn hands, reminders of the world they were fighting to protect. The mud clung to their boots, cold and heavy, as though the land itself resisted every step they took. Officers whispered instructions in low tones, careful not to alert enemy scouts hiding just beyond the tree line. The smell of gunpowder and wet earth mingled, a constant reminder of battles fought and those yet to come. Some men tried to rest, using their rifles as makeshift pillows, though sleep was fleeting and uneasy. Others maintained watch, eyes scanning the dark horizon for any movement that might signal an approaching threat. Stories of previous skirmishes were exchanged quietly, blending fear with the camaraderie that only war could forge. Rations were limited, and sharing a small piece of bread became an unspoken act of solidarity among the soldiers. The sounds of distant artillery occasionally shook the ground, startling those who had briefly allowed themselves to relax. Every soldier knew the importance of vigilance. A single lapse could mean death in the shadowed fields. Letters were read aloud softly, voices trembling with a mix of longing, hope, and homesickness. Some men wrote quick notes to loved ones, the ink smudged by cold fingers and shaking hands. The wind carried the distant cries of wounded men, a haunting reminder of the cost of each advance. In tents and makeshift shelters, the medics worked tirelessly, their efforts illuminated by flickering lanterns. The night sky was a cold, black canvas, punctuated by faint starlight and the occasional tracer fire overhead. Even amid fear, soldiers told jokes, trying to keep morale alive against the oppressive weight of danger. Plans for the next day's movement were reviewed, maps spread across sandbags and illuminated by candlelight. Each man carried memories of the day's skirmishes, replaying decisions, successes, and mistakes in their minds. The quiet was occasionally broken by distant explosions, signaling that the enemy was active and ready to strike. Some took comfort in small rituals, cleaning weapons, checking gear, or quietly praying for safety. The camaraderie was tangible. Soldiers shared stories of home, dreams of post-war life, and the hope of returning safely. Snacks and coffee were distributed, providing brief warmth in the damp, chilly night air. The tension never fully left the men. Each sound, each shadow, was a potential threat to be assessed. Trenches and foxholes were more than protection. They were lifelines in a landscape scarred by battle. Some soldiers wrote down their experiences, knowing that one day, these words might tell the story of courage. The distant rumble of tanks reminded them that the front line was never truly far away, always advancing. Quiet conversations explored family, hometowns, and memories of youth before war changed everything. Despite exhaustion, men rotated on watch, understanding that vigilance was a shared responsibility. Small fires were lit, not for warmth, but to boil water and prepare meager meals for those on duty. The smell of canned rations mingled with the lingering scent of gunfire, creating a harsh but familiar comfort. Conversations turned to strategies, with some soldiers recalling lessons learned from previous engagements. Every step, every decision carried weight. Mistakes could be fatal under the moonlit sky. The nights were long, each hour stretching endlessly as soldiers waited for dawn and another day of combat. Letters became talismans, tangible links to the world beyond the front lines and the loved ones left behind. Some men wrote journals, capturing moments of fear, hope, and humanity amidst the chaos of war. The foxholes offered shelter, but they also reminded the men of their vulnerability and the ever-present danger. Time seemed distorted, minutes stretched into hours, and the night felt like it might never end. Conversations were sparse, spoken in whispers to avoid drawing attention, yet they were vital for morale. Each sound, from the rustle of leaves to the distant hum of engines, was analyzed for threat and meaning. The men's eyes grew accustomed to darkness, noticing shapes and movements invisible to the untrained gaze. Some hums and quiet songs drifted through the night, small attempts to retain humanity amid war's dehumanization. Sleep came in fragments, interrupted by the need to check surroundings, weapons, or the positions of comrades. Soldiers discussed the rumors of enemy movements, each story adding tension and sharpening focus. Moments of reflection brought memories of home, fueling both determination and melancholy. The night in Normandy tested courage in its purest form, balancing fear with duty in every heartbeat. Men relied on instinct and training, every movement calculated and deliberate under the cloak of darkness. Some wrote farewell letters, anticipating the unknown and preparing for sacrifices that might never be fully recognized. The cold air bit through layers, reminding men of the harsh realities beyond combat. Discomfort, fatigue, and uncertainty. Conversations shifted to lighter topics, laughter providing fleeting relief from the pervasive anxiety. Maps and notes were reviewed repeatedly, preparing for maneuvers that could dictate life or death outcomes. Men shared equipment, patched uniforms, and ensured everyone had what they needed for survival. The night offered a strange intimacy, binding soldiers together in shared struggle and relentless vigilance. The occasional flare illuminated the landscape, casting stark shadows and revealing terrain that was otherwise hidden. Rumors circulated about the enemy's strategy, prompting discussion and careful planning among officers and enlisted men. Even in fear, soldiers displayed small acts of heroism, comforting a frightened comrade, sharing scarce supplies. The night in Normandy was never still, alive with anticipation, memory, and the unspoken bonds of brotherhood. As hours passed, exhaustion and focus battled for dominance, each man fighting internal and external battles. Soldiers exchanged stories of bravery, loss, and moments of unexpected humanity amid devastation. In the silence, the distant sounds of artillery reminded everyone that safety was temporary and vigilance permanent. Tents and shelters offered meager comfort, providing a semblance of home in a foreign, war-torn land. The camaraderie extended to small gestures, a cigarette offered, a joke shared, a quiet word of reassurance. Maps were revisited, strategies analyzed, and contingency plans made for the inevitable morning advance. Each night forged resilience, tested character, and built bonds that would endure far beyond the battlefield. Some wrote letters to loved ones, unsure if they would ever be delivered, yet compelled by hope. The foxholes, mud, and cold became a shared experience, a crucible shaping courage and unity. Even amid fear, soldiers found moments of reflection, laughter, and fleeting relief from the chaos. The night was a teacher, relentless and unforgiving, imparting lessons of patience, vigilance, and endurance. Every hour passed under careful watch, each soldier acutely aware that their lives and comrades depended on it. Small fires glowed, meals were shared, and fleeting warmth reminded men of humanity in wartime. Exhaustion pressed heavily, yet duty compelled constant vigilance, each movement deliberate and intentional. The distant stars offered no comfort, only a cold, indifferent witness to the struggles below. Stories of home were whispered, prayers uttered, and memories recalled, grounding men amid the chaos. As dawn approached, anticipation mixed with relief, signaling another day of challenges, courage, and survival. Dawn was still hours away, but the soldiers' minds never rested, anticipating the first light. Conversations in hushed tones analyzed maps, terrain, and likely enemy positions for the morning advance. The air was damp and cold, chilling men to the bone despite layered uniforms. Foxholes were inspected one last time, ensuring rifles were clean, ammo ready, and every soldier accounted for. Some men adjusted their gear meticulously, a ritual that calmed nerves and instilled a sense of control. The distant hum of vehicles signaled that the front line was stirring, movements imperceptible but ever present. Medics checked supplies again, preparing bandages, morphine, and stretchers for inevitable casualties. Small gestures, patting a comrade on the back, sharing a sip of water, reinforced bonds forged under pressure. Whispers of family names floated through the night, each name carrying both comfort and sorrow. Some soldiers stared into the darkness, imagining the world beyond Normandy's war-torn fields. The faint glow of the moon illuminated barbed wire, craters, and remnants of destroyed villages. In silence, men rehearsed drills and fallback strategies, their minds sharper than any weapon in sight. The occasional rustle of leaves triggered immediate alertness, every sound potentially signaling danger. Letters tucked into pockets were read one last time, a lifeline to home and a reminder of what they fought for. Even amid exhaustion, humor crept into conversation, laughter echoing softly through the night. Men shared memories of previous battles, analyzing what went right, what went wrong, and what could be learned. The smell of gunpowder lingered, mingling with wet earth and the faint aroma of rations being consumed. Some soldiers took a moment to pray, seeking courage, protection, or simply solace in the chaos. Every step taken in the mud was deliberate, each movement calculated to avoid detection or injury. Traces of enemy presence were noted, footprints, discarded shells, and faint sounds guiding caution. Camaraderie strengthened as soldiers covered each other, shared supplies, and kept watch in rotating shifts. Small fires crackled quietly, providing warmth and a spot to boil water or prepare meager meals. The night sky began to lighten faintly, hinting at dawn and the challenges the day would bring. Maps and notes were revisited repeatedly, ensuring all contingencies were considered and plans clear. Whispers discussed morale, the importance of cohesion, and how to maintain focus under stress. The distant echoes of artillery reminded men that war never truly sleeps, even in brief pauses. Some wrote quick notes to loved ones, uncertain if they would survive the day, but but compelled by duty. Every man was acutely aware of the vulnerability inherent in the darkness, each sound magnified in tension. In foxholes, soldiers adjusted positions to guard against cold, mud, and unexpected enemy movements. The camaraderie of shared hardship created unspoken bonds that no formal training could instill. Small routines, cleaning rifles, checking ammo, distributing rations, offered comfort in repetition. Eyes scanned the horizon continuously, trained to detect the slightest hint of movement. Stories of heroism circulated quietly, honoring acts of bravery that went unnoticed by the wider world. Despite fear, some men hummed tunes or recited lines from home, grounding themselves in memory. The night stretched endlessly, each hour filled with anticipation, fear, and vigilance. Meals were consumed quickly, often cold, yet necessary to sustain energy for the coming day. The ground was uneven and treacherous, every step requiring care to avoid injury or detection. Conversations alternated between strategy, family, and fleeting humor, each exchange strengthening morale. The anticipation of dawn brought both relief and anxiety, a complex mixture of emotions. Soldiers whispered about news from other units, piecing together the larger picture of the battlefield. Maps were marked and remarked, lines drawn to indicate paths, fallback positions, and potential hazards. Even in the shadows, vigilance never wavered. One lapse could mean disaster for the entire unit. Some soldiers wrote journals, capturing thoughts and experiences, knowing history may one day remember them. Footsteps and distant engine hums were analyzed for clues, each sound interpreted as potential threat or reassurance. The cold night air was relentless, biting through layers, testing endurance and resolve. Laughter and whispered stories softened the harshness of the night, offering brief respite from tension. Every detail, no matter how small, was noted, from the trajectory of distant tracer fire to the rustling of leaves. Letters read aloud offered comfort, camaraderie, and a fleeting sense of connection to a world far away. Sleep came in fleeting moments, often interrupted by duty, instinct, or the sudden noise of distant combat. The bond between soldiers was palpable, strengthened by shared hardship, fear, and the will to survive. As the first hints of light appeared on the horizon, the soldiers prepared to face the unknown day ahead. Checks were repeated, gear inspected, and strategies rehearsed as the night's darkness gave way to dawn. Even in the early morning shadows, caution remained paramount, every movement deliberate and controlled. The distant rumble of artillery intensified, signaling that the day's challenges were imminent. Letters were tucked away, prayers whispered, and resolve hardened in anticipation of the morning advance. Foxholes were abandoned carefully, ensuring no trace was left for enemy observation. Soldiers moved quietly, methodically, as the first light revealed the landscape's hazards and opportunities. The camaraderie, vigilance, and shared resolve of the night remained, guiding actions in the first hours of combat. Every soldier understood the stakes. The night had been a preparation, a crucible forging resilience and unity. As dawn broke fully, the soldiers of Normandy stepped forward, carrying the lessons, fears, and bonds of the long night. The first rays of dawn revealed the scarred landscape, craters and debris marking yesterday's chaos. Soldiers adjusted helmets, checked rifles, and silently acknowledged the day's imminent dangers. Foxholes emptied carefully, each movement deliberate to avoid drawing attention from distant enemy observers. The smell of damp earth mixed with gunpowder, a reminder that yesterday's battle had left its mark. Units formed ranks quietly, communicating in gestures and whispers to maintain operational secrecy. Commanders issued final instructions, emphasizing coordination, timing, and the importance of covering fire. The sound of distant artillery was constant, shaping the rhythm of the soldiers' movements and actions. Scouts moved ahead, carefully noting enemy positions, minefields, and potential ambush points. Men rehearsed fallback plans silently, mentally preparing for contingencies and unexpected assaults. Rations were quickly consumed, energy preserved for the physical and mental demands of the day. Medical personnel prepared kits and positioned themselves strategically, ready to respond immediately to casualties. Every soldier understood the importance of staying alert, scanning the horizon for sudden threats. Trenches and makeshift barricades were inspected one last time, ensuring defenses were ready. Communication lines were tested, messengers briefed, and signals rehearsed to maintain cohesion under fire. Men whispered prayers, some invoking loved ones' names, others seeking courage or solace for the day ahead. The landscape was both familiar and treacherous, shaped by previous battles and constant bombardment. Footsteps were muffled, movements synchronized, as soldiers advanced in small, deliberate groups. The first crackle of gunfire echoed, and reflexes sharpened instantly, bodies tensing for immediate response. Officers signaled positions, directing small squads to key points while maintaining overall strategic intent. Maps and notes were referenced continuously, ensuring every team understood the terrain and enemy disposition. Men shared silent glances, brief nods communicating trust and mutual readiness for the ordeal ahead. The distant rumble of tanks signaled reinforcements moving moving into position, providing both cover and intimidation. Smoke from previous strikes lingered, reducing visibility, but also masking troop movements from enemy observation. The camaraderie forged through nights of shared fear now guided disciplined, coordinated action in daylight. The first enemy patrols appeared, triggering bursts of reconnaissance fire and immediate evasive maneuvers. Rifles were readied, ammunition counted, and every movement rehearsed for efficiency under pressure. The day's mission was clear, but flexibility and adaptation remained crucial for survival. Every sound, shadow, and ripple in the terrain was analyzed, informing split-second decisions. Soldiers recalled training, previous engagements, and lessons learned to anticipate the enemy's tactics. The morning sun glinted off metal helmets, rifles, and scattered debris, highlighting the reality of combat. Commanders coordinated artillery support, timing barrages with infantry advances to maximize impact. Men adjusted positions, crouched behind barricades, and prepared for the first coordinated push forward. Fear and determination coexisted, driving focus, courage, and a heightened sense of awareness. Scouts relayed observations, enemy movements tracked meticulously, informing tactical adjustments in real time. Communication was critical. Hand signals, whispered orders, and pre-arranged codes ensured coordination. The anticipation of engagement heightened every sensation, each sound amplified, each shadow significant. The terrain's challenges, mud, craters, and debris, tested both physical endurance and strategic planning. Soldiers mentally reviewed objectives, fallback points, and the expected resistance along the path. Medical staff remained vigilant, prepared for the inevitable injuries the advancing troops might encounter. Every soldier bore personal stakes, thoughts of family mingling with duty, fueling both courage and anxiety. Teams moved in coordinated bursts, alternating between cover and advance to minimize exposure. The first volleys of gunfire signaled the start of skirmishes, testing nerves and readiness simultaneously. Orders were repeated, echoed down the lines, ensuring clarity amidst the chaos and noise. Men adapted instantaneously, combining pre-planned tactics with spontaneous improvisation to counter threats. The landscape became a dynamic battlefield, changing with each maneuver, each strike, each reaction. Riflemen provided suppressive fire while others advanced, each movement synchronized for maximum effectiveness. Enemy snipers emerged, prompting rapid adjustments, use of cover, and calculated responses from advancing troops. The pace was relentless. Fatigue began to creep in, but adrenaline sustained focus and reaction speed. Small squads moved methodically, covering each other's flanks, maintaining cohesion under pressure. Commanders monitored progress, adjusting strategy dynamically as new information arrived from the front. The clash of artillery and gunfire created a cacophony, challenging both concentration and morale. Soldiers relied on training, intuition, and the shared understanding developed through prior hardships. Casualties were tended to quickly, medics moving through dangerous terrain with courage and precision. Every inch gained was hard-won. The advance measured against both enemy resistance and natural obstacles. Troops communicated through brief hand signals, eyes meeting to confirm understanding amidst the chaos. Every step was deliberate, balancing speed with caution to maintain tactical advantage. The advancing line adapted constantly, responding to enemy maneuvers, terrain changes, and unexpected hazards. Soldiers absorbed lessons from each encounter, using experience to anticipate and counter future threats. The battle unfolded like a complex living organism, requiring constant observation and adjustment. Leadership at every level was tested, decisions made in seconds shaping the outcomes of entire units. Men kept mental checklists, recalling training, previous engagements, and strategic priorities under fire. Even in intense combat, camaraderie persisted, with soldiers supporting each other physically and emotionally. The day's mission progressed, punctuated by bursts of intense fighting, temporary pauses, and strategic repositioning. Troops advanced cautiously, eyes scanning every shadow, listening for the faintest indication of enemy movement. Artillery support provided both cover and psychological advantage, its impact shaping battlefield dynamics. The morning continued with relentless pressure, requiring focus, stamina, and courage at every moment. Soldiers adapted to the changing battlefield, learning from both success and setbacks in real time. Commanders coordinated multi-pronged attacks, ensuring that flanks were protected and objectives pursued efficiently. The heat of engagement tested endurance, resolve, and the ability to maintain composure under stress. Teams rotated positions, alternating exposure and cover, ensuring continuous momentum without overexertion. Communication remained essential, with orders repeated, signals observed, and adjustments made constantly. Every soldier balanced personal survival with unit objectives, integrating discipline, courage, and strategy. The terrain's obstacles required innovative solutions, improvisation, and rapid tactical thinking under pressure. As morning wore on, the reality of combat's intensity became fully apparent, testing resolve, and skill. The effectiveness of prior preparation, the long night of vigilance, was evident in coordinated movements. Soldiers relied on muscle memory, training, and instinct to react to threats and seize opportunities. Small victories were celebrated quietly, motivating men to continue advancing despite adversity. The battlefield remained unpredictable, each encounter requiring adaptation, courage, and focus. Leadership decisions at every level shaped the unfolding narrative, balancing risk and reward strategically. The morning's progress was a testament to discipline, training, and the bonds forged through hardship. As the sun climbed higher, the soldiers maintained relentless focus, aware that every moment carried consequence. The lessons of the night prepared them for the morning, guiding actions, choices, and responses effectively. Each step forward was a combination of courage, calculation, and shared trust among comrades. Despite exhaustion, men continued to advance, drawing on adrenaline, training, and camaraderie to sustain momentum. The early hours of combat set the stage for the day's broader operations, determining both opportunity and risk. Commanders observed patterns, adjusted tactics, and ensured that units remained coordinated despite chaos. The intensity of the morning highlighted both the dangers of war and the discipline of the men involved. Every action, every decision was a product of preparation, training, and the shared commitment to mission success. The midday sun bore down heavily, its heat mixing with the acrid scent of smoke and metal. Explosions punctuated the air, sending tremors through the earth and dust into the sky. Every command shouted through the chaos was swallowed by the deafening roar of artillery. Men dashed from cover to cover, the sound of bullets slicing through the air inches away. Adrenaline drove them forward, overriding exhaustion and fear in a primal surge of focus. The landscape became a blur of motion. Bodies, smoke, flashes of fire, and flying debris. Tank treads crushed the soil, advancing slowly but relentlessly toward enemy fortifications. Every heartbeat felt louder than the explosions. Every breath a fight for survival. Communication was now instinctive. Gestures, eye contact, the silent language of the battlefield. Medics crawled under fire, pulling the wounded to safety with quiet desperation and unwavering courage. Shells exploded nearby, shaking the ground and disorienting everyone within the blast radius. The air grew thick with dust, sweat, and the metallic taste of fear and determination. Commanders adjusted tactics on the fly, balancing survival with the relentless pursuit of victory. Every movement was calculated, every step forward a risk weighed against potential gain. Amid the chaos, discipline held, training and camaraderie anchoring soldiers to their mission. Some prayed, others cursed, but all moved with the shared instinct to push forward. The enemy's defenses were fierce, but cracks began to appear under sustained pressure. Grenades were thrown into bunkers, clearing paths through fortified positions. Machine guns roared from both sides, lines shifting and bending under the weight of fire. The sound of shrapnel hitting helmets and armor became background noise, terrifying yet constant. Amid the deafening chaos, the human element persisted, helping, shouting, sacrificing. Soldiers carried the wounded despite danger, choosing compassion over self-preservation. Orders were shouted through radios barely functioning under the constant shock of blasts. Visibility was low, but instinct guided each move, built from nights of preparation and shared trust. The ground trembled with the movement of tanks, each advance signaling progress and peril alike. Men fought not just the enemy, but exhaustion, thirst, and the creeping weight of realization. War had stripped everything to its rawest form: survival, duty, and fleeting moments of mercy. Hours passed like minutes. Time lost meaning amid the relentless surge of battle. Each victory was measured not in ground gained, but in lives saved and held together. Smoke billowed upward, forming dark columns that blurred the horizon into shadow. By afternoon, the once chaotic advance had taken shape, a coordinated rhythm of attack and defense. The enemy's counterfire grew weaker, their lines thinning as momentum shifted irreversibly. Commanders seized the moment, pushing forward before dusk could halt the advantage. Orders were clear, sharp, and final. Take the position, hold it, survive. The final push was brutal, a storm of fire and steel that tested every ounce of resolve. Men charged through open fields, through smoke and gunfire, each step an act of defiance. Screams mixed with the roar of engines and the echo of distant bombardments. The battle's end felt both near and unreachable, suspended in a haze of noise and fatigue. When silence finally came, it was not peace, only the stunned quiet after unimaginable noise. Bodies lay where they fell, and the survivors moved carefully among them, checking for life. The sun dipped low, its light cutting through smoke and revealing the cost of the day. The battlefield, once alive with motion, now stood still, marked by courage and loss. Medics worked methodically, faces blank from exhaustion, hands steady from necessity. Commanders surveyed the scene, their expressions unreadable beneath the weight of command. Victory was achieved, but the emotion felt hollow. Too many gone, too much lost. Men sat in silence, cleaning weapons, or staring into the distance, lost in thought. Someone lit a cigarette, the small flame a fragile symbol of normalcy amid ruin. Letters from home were pulled from pockets, stained with dirt and sweat but still cherished. A few shared quiet jokes, trying to pull laughter from a place untouched by the day's horror. The smell of gunpowder lingered long after the firing had stopped. Every survivor carried invisible scars, etched deeper than the wounds seen on their bodies. As night returned, the cycle began again. Guard shifts, whispered reports, silent reflection. Some prayed for the fallen, others simply watched the stars and thought of home. The camaraderie that had driven them through the fire now held them together in its aftermath. No one spoke of heroism, only survival, endurance, and the hope of seeing another dawn. The war would continue tomorrow, and the day after, but for now, there was quiet. The sound of the wind through the wreckage replaced the thunder of artillery. The night air felt heavy, thick with smoke and memory. Men laid down in their foxholes again, eyes open, listening for any sign of danger. Sleep came slowly, haunted by echoes of the day that refused to fade. Even in rest, their bodies remained tense, minds trapped between vigilance and fatigue. The stars above seemed indifferent, distant witnesses to the suffering below. And yet, beneath it all, there remained a fragile spark of humanity, the will to endure. That unyielding spirit, shared among those who fought and those who waited, defined them. For in war, survival was not just about strength, but about holding on to the faintest reason to keep going. And as the night deepened once more, they clung to that reason, quietly, resolutely, together.